Kerry from the UK. Hi, Kerry, and welcome to aupair.com.
Thank you. Hi.
As you know, we are going to interview Kerry and ask her about her au pair experience. And just to let you know, guys, about the au pair program, how does it work? Our program is a really successful program, and it involves young people from all over the world going abroad and taking care of host kids in host families, and it means basically cultural exchange. And I got to know Kerry through an interview she's done with the Radio Nacional de España because she was an au pair in Spain. So today we are going to talk about this experience in Spain of Kerry. So Kerry, I would like to know something more about you. So how old are you and what were you doing before being an au pair?
Well, I'm 18 and I was studying in college. I was studying biology, chemistry, and Spanish because I'm going to go to university in September to be a vet.
Wow.
So that's what I was doing before then.
Oh, interesting. And you were studying in Spanish.
hmm Yeah.
Oh, nice. So that's why you choose Spain as
Yeah,
your...
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you're so young. You're 18 years old and you've already done an experience abroad. So that's a
Yeah.
great thing, actually. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And why did you choose to become an au pair then?
Because I really love children and because I was studying Spanish, I just thought, well, I love Spanish, I love children, so I'll combine the two. And so I went to go stay with a Spanish family, and I got to learn the Spanish culture like through total immersion.
Hmm.
And it really helped my language skills, and it also really helped with my like ability to care for children, which I can also then transfer to looking after animals and things like that in the future. So yeah.
Yeah, really interesting, like how you can bond to different things. I mean, your passions, in this case, the language,
hmm
and the kids were,
Yeah.
and then your future, possibly future jobs. So it's very
Yeah.
interesting, this point. And you're really young, but did you have the chance to go abroad before being an au pair, like living abroad for a certain amount of time, or was it your first time?
Well, my dad had a job in America, so I lived in America for a year in 2016. But I've never lived by myself abroad before.
Okay.
So this was the first chance I had to be alone and independent in another
Yeah.
country. So
Interesting. And were you a bit afraid of that? Were you nervous at the beginning
yeah.
before leaving? What did you fear the most?
Well, I think I was the most worried about being away from my family and things like that because I am young and
Hmm.
so I rely on my family quite a lot. So that was my main worry, was missing my brothers and sisters and my mum and
Yeah.
dad. But it was fine. Like I had plenty of free time, so I could go on my phone and Skype to my family and things like that. So it was okay.
Okay. Then that's nice. So you didn't feel homesick in the end?
And no, it was fine. At the start I did, but towards
Yeah.
the end, as I got more used to the family as well, because
Yeah.
the more time I spent with the family, the more comfortable I felt. So it felt like I was had a little family in Spain as well.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
didn't miss my family as much in England.
Yeah, that's nice. That should be the aim of the au pair program as well, to find another family somewhere in
Yeah.
the world. So that's really nice. Well, wow, that's really also great to listen to. So in the end, you made it. So you left for Spain, and you were a summer au pair. So you
Yeah.
left for the summertime. How
Yeah.
long did you stay with your host family, and where exactly did you go in Spain?
It was 7 weeks, and I went to a small town called Gondomar in Galicia.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So in the north of Spain, that's
yeah,
also a very special area, I would say. Very interesting
yeah,
choice. Not a big city like the capital, Madrid or Barcelona. So it
yeah.
was a really interesting choice. And you already know that you would like to go to Spain. But why
Mhm.
did you choose Galicia in this case?
Well, I think the family were more important than the area itself. Like I got along really well with the family through the interview and things like that. But I also didn't. I thought that I would get a more authentic Spanish experience if I
Yeah.
was in like a more rural area, because
Yes.
in places like Madrid and Barcelona, everybody speaks English
Yes, that's
and
right.
things like that. So if I went to Galicia, it was a more Spanish experience, and I
Yeah.
got total immersion in their culture.
Yeah.
So
And in the end, is that what you get? I mean, did
yeah.
you manage to practice your Spanish
Hmm.
and to speak Spanish with all
Yeah.
the inhabitants?
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. And did you look for a family for a long time before finding the right one, or was it a quick process to find your host family?
I think it took about a month,
Hmm.
something like that. It wasn't a long time, but it wasn't like immediate. Like, because I
Okay.
went, there was a lot of families that I talked to first before I found the
Mhm.
one that I felt was perfect for me.
Yeah, okay. So 1 month is more or less what
Yeah,
it takes because, the research has to be kind of detailed because you have to live with this family. So it's really
yeah,
important to have the first impression and the good one.
yeah.
And was your family composed by both the parents? And how
Yeah.
many kids did you look after?
So it was both parents, and I looked after one 4-year-old boy.
And how was it with the kid? Did he accept you right at the
Yeah.
first
It was so
time?
sweet because when I first arrived, he gave me a little toy moon, and it was
Uh-huh.
like pink, and he had the same toy, but it was grey. So we both had matching toy moons, and it was
Oh,
really
that's
sweet.
nice.
So that he gave me that immediately as I got in the car on the drive home. It was really sweet. So yeah,
So it was really welcoming as a
yeah.
host kid. So that's really great. And were you their first au pair?
No, they had a girl from California the year before that.
Okay, so they were already used to having an au pair at home.
Yeah.
And did you get along well with both the host parents? Was it a bit weird at the beginning?
It was weird at the beginning, but as time went by, I just got more and more used to it. I think I was closer to the mother because the father worked away.
Hmm.
He went away for work trips. So I spent most time with the mother, so I got along better with her. But the father was nice too, so
Yeah.
it was fine.
So you had a nice experience overall with the family and okay, and the kid.
Yeah.
That's really important. And well, what was your typical day as an au pair like then?
Well, I would have to go and wake up Alejandro, and he did not like waking up in the morning. It would take
Yeah,
him like half
I
an hour,
understand.
45 minutes. Yeah, it would take him quite a long time to wake up. And he was very grumpy in the morning. But then I'd go downstairs, make his breakfast, and then we'd play together. And then at about 11, I would make him a snack, and it would usually be like a sandwich or a
Mhm.
yogurt. And then I would play with him again until his mother got home at about 2. And then we would eat as a family. And
Mm.
then I would play with him again until 5 o'clock. And that's when uh, my shift ended. But then I would continue playing with him again. And the main role was just to play with him, but while speaking in English, so I
Yeah.
could teach him English through doing fun things like that. So yeah.
Interesting. And you spent the summertime there. So did you manage to leave a bit Spain and the summer in Spain as well?
Mm.
So not only working, but also being more or less on holiday,
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you like the surroundings?
Yeah, it was so beautiful. It was really pretty, and I really liked it because not many English people, or not
Yeah.
many people in general, know how it is in that region of
Yeah.
Spain. But it was honestly beautiful. And my dad and my sister came on holiday to where I
Ah,
was, while I was there. So I went and stayed with them for a weekend while I was there, and they also got to experience the beauty of Galicia, and
yeah.
it was really nice. Yeah. So
Interesting. So you had a chance also to discover maybe a place that you wouldn't really choose for
yeah,
as an holiday
yeah.
goal or yes, that's really an interesting point. And would you say that would it be better for you? Would it have been better for you to stay there for a longer time in order to practice your Spanish a bit more, or
Yeah.
do you feel that was just fine?
Well, I don't feel like I suffered from staying for a shorter amount of time, but at the end, like I felt really sad that I was leaving, and
Hmm.
there was a lot more that I could have experienced if I would have stayed for a bit longer. So I think next time, because I was going to be an au pair again this year, but
Oh,
obviously with the coronavirus,
yes.
I can't. And I was going to stay for 3 months or something like that. It
Okay.
would be
Yeah.
a longer period of time. But I think I think I stayed there for a sufficient amount of time, and so I had a good time anyway. It was fine, but I would have liked to stay a bit longer.
Yeah, yeah, nice. And where would you like to go next?
Well, I was gonna go to the same family.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they contacted me and asked me if I would like to, and of course I had such a good time that I said yeah. But I would possibly, if I was gonna do it again, city so that I can experience
Mhm.
the city life as well as the rural life. But honestly, I love Spain, and so
Oh,
anyway.
that's your goal. That's really nice, actually, that you also created a bond with the family. So you're in touch with them and
Yeah,
they invited you over again. So that's really nice. That's great to hear, actually, because, it's very nice to hear nice experiences.
yeah.
Yeah. And what about you and Spain? I mean, you already studied the language, but did you leave any cultural shock, something strange about the culture of Spain? Or
Well,
was it, yeah, more or
in,
less the same?
in general, it's the same, but I think the food was the biggest shock for me.
Yeah.
Because, for example, there, octopus is really like common to eat, whereas I don't know anybody who's eaten octopus before. So
Oh,
it was
okay.
like that. The food was quite a shock to me, and they would eat stuff that I'd never eaten like every single day. So every day was a new experience with food for me. So it was really
Interesting.
strange. But I think in general, the way they live is it's a bit different with like they only work like the mum worked from like 8 a.m. until like 2:30,
Hmm.
whereas in England it'd be like 9 till 5.
Yeah,
So the way that they worked was a bit different, but yeah, it was
yeah.
in general it was quite similar.
Yes, but it was a positive shock. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah,
food and so on. And
yeah.
where do you come from in England? Do you live in a big city or?
I live in like a medium town.
Okay.
I live in the north of England, close to Manchester.
Okay,
Like,
okay. And so was it even different moving from your hometown to Galicia? Did you feel a different vibe of
yeah,
the city?
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's also an interesting experience.
Mhm.
And did you manage to get to know some people and make some friends in Galicia? How
Yeah,
was it?
so there was an au pair who was from Sweden, and she was staying with one of the neighbours. So it
Oh,
was really
okay.
good because she lived literally 2 houses away from me. And so, like, every afternoon, we would take a walk to the town and we'd have a
Okay.
coffee and stuff like that. And we also would go to the bigger cities, like, we went to Santiago de Compostela,
Hmm.
we went to A Coruña. We went to places like that together so that we could experience the cities, but as two foreign people together.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And well, is there something that maybe you didn't like about your experience or even the short amount of time maybe or
Well,
was
I think it was good overall. I mean, if there was going to be like one difficulty, it would just that I am young, I don't have children, so it was really difficult to like sometimes Alejandro was lovely, but sometimes he would be a bit difficult. And so
Mhm.
sometimes I found that really hard to deal with because I didn't really know my limits as to like,
Yeah.
because I felt like like, I don't know, I felt like I didn't have all of the control that I wanted. And because he was just a child, he
Yeah.
wanted to do things his way. And I would have to tell him no. And then he would get annoyed or whatever. And that was probably the most difficult thing for me was like the discipline.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Yeah. Well, it's hard. It's something that you learn with experience. And
yeah,
maybe if you have some little brother or sister, maybe you also could have the chance to experience that before,
yeah.
but actually kids can be really tough.
Yeah.
So patient, lots of patience, I would say
Mhm.
it's required. It's fundamental, but in the end you manage, then
Yeah.
maybe, yeah, next time
Yeah.
it will be easier
Yeah,
to
exactly.
some extent. But yes. Okay, and you traveled, so you mentioned these two big cities, and what's the favorite place you visited in Spain in with this au pair
Um,
experience?
I really liked, well, the grandparents of the
Hmm.
family, they lived in a town called Aguarda, and I really liked it because it was like on the border with Portugal. Um,
Oh, okay.
and so when we went there, we would go on a walk to like on the mountains, and we would cross over the border into Portugal,
Oh,
and it
wow.
was really, really pretty, and I really liked it there. That was probably my favorite place.
Yeah, and well, you visited the grandparents as
Hmm.
well, and so did you feel part of the family?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it was
that's
lovely. Yeah.
an important point because that's another aim of the au pair program. So I
Mhm.
think you reached all the goals, all the possible goals of being an au pair. So that's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. And well, after the au pair experiences, so you will start the university. And do you feel that your au pair experience helped you somehow with the things that you will do in the future? So you mentioned this similarity with what you're going to study. Is there some other skill that you learned that you think may be useful for the future?
Well, I think because at university I will be living away from home
Mhm.
by myself. So going to Spain alone at like a young age was really useful for helping me to develop my independence. And so it'll make it easier because I had to like prepare my own food when I was there, and things like that. So I'll have experience so that when I go live by myself at university and in the future when I'll have my
Yeah.
own house and like that, that will have definitely helped me and give me advantage over other people. Because this will probably be their first time living away from
Yeah.
home. And also, I think in general, though, like for the jobs that I've applied for since coming back from being an au pair, people have just found it so interesting, and it's been like a real topic for conversation. And employers seem to find it very like impressive that I've gone
Yeah.
and done that, taken initiative and gone and stayed there and had experience with
Yeah.
many different things. So yeah,
Yeah, that's very important actually, because going abroad means adapting yourself to a new
mm-hmm.
culture and losing the comfort zone where you come from. So it's also useful as a job skill.
Mm-hmm.
The working in team as well. These are
Yeah,
all things that you will find in the future in the university as well in
yeah,
jobs. So
yeah,
the au
exactly.
pair program is a good start, I
Mm-hmm.
would say. And but well, is there something that you wish somebody would have told you before leaving for being an au pair?
Well, I mean, I was pretty lucky because two of my sisters had already been au pairs.
Oh, okay.
So one of them had done it in China and in Italy, and another one was a long-term au pair for like 2 years in France.
Oh, wow.
So I already had like advice and stuff from
Hmm.
them on how to be. But I think just the main thing that I probably wish someone would have told me would be to make sure that I did take more time for myself, because although I really did enjoy spending time with the family and things like
Hmm.
that, it was really important to like relax because it's quite a like fast-paced thing playing with a
Yeah,
child all day long from the second you wake up until the second you go to sleep. And so I think it's important to take some time for yourself to just relax, and then you'll be
yeah,
refreshed the next day. And I think that was something that I didn't think about before, but that I
yeah,
started to learn like as my time as an au pair ended. That was something I'd started to
yeah.
learn. So
Yeah, because it's tiring
yeah,
actually,
yeah,
playing all day long with a
yeah.
kid. Yes, so that's a very important advice, even for the future au pairs. And well, would you do it again then? Yes, I would
Yes,
say since
definitely.
you're maybe doing that again. So we
Yeah.
hope the current situation will allow that.
Yeah.
And would you consider in living in Spain in the future in the your host country?
Yeah, definitely. I think I really, really did enjoy the way of life there, and the people were all so friendly. Like I really, really liked it. So I would definitely consider living there in the future.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So, as the very last question of our interview, I would like you to describe your pair program with three adjectives. The first that or substantives. The first that come
Um,
to your mind.
um, that's an interesting question. I think unforgettable, interesting, and incredible.
So, all very positive.
Yeah,
So,
of course.
that's perfect. Kerry, one thank you so much for taking part in this interview. And I'm sure all the other future au pairs are going to see this, are going to find this very useful because,
No,
you know, the experience learns and teaches a lot. So
yeah,
that's very important. So thank you again.
no
And
worries.
the end of our interview.
Okay, thank you.